Hello, angry people. We're coming to check your angry place. Anger children, kitties.
This won't stop me for long. There! Done! Why not? There! Done!
I shall be discreet.
Let's have two random rubies up there.
Ready, Watcher.
I'm just trying to talk to this lady.
Got it.
That I'm standing on top of.
Eh?
Let's go talk to this guy.
What brings you here?
Grizzled old elf. It's the new grizzled bastard. Braided and dyed, stands at one end of the hall. His arms and chest are cross-hatched with pale seams of scars. His crooked smile looks like another. It's not many Estermorn who are permitted into our sacred city. Bethwell must be feeling especially soft today. Yater pays no attention to the elf. And he decides that his eyes lock with the Stelgar in front of him. He whispers to, "Do you think he'd mind if I pet his Stelgar?" So again, he lowers her head. "Remember how well that worked out last time? Come to hear your future at Tyr Everon?" His smile widens, exposing a row of yellowed, crooked teeth. "Or to make your own at Blood Sands." What's Blood Sands? An ancient place of sacrifice. He laces his fingers together. In a cave by the great elms themselves. Reston and his druids have been an integral part of Glanfathan's society for generations. No matter what some of the other tribes might say, Glanfath has held its own against the Estermorn because some of us still understand the power of sacrifice. He gives you an appraising eye. Does the thought make you uncomfortable? It should. It's what's kept our society alive for so long. Something else. You don't seem too fond of us, Estermorn. His hunched shoulders straighten. I fought in Broken Stone War and the War of the Black Trees. I saw my brother cut down defending the places of the builders, and I shed blood alongside Galvin Ragged himself. Now the Estermorns seem to think that they will find a cure for their empty children among our sacred sites, or worse, that they'll find sanctuary in our lands. His gaze darkens, and I've seen what happens when they set their sights on Glanfathan soil. From what we've seen, those sacred sites might actually have a cure. They protect those sites because someone told them to. You wish just once that they'd have the courage to question it. And this worries you? Ha! I've seen too many wars for this not to worry me. In my 250 years, I've lived my people through 2 wars. Our borders have remained intact, and largely through the reputation of the 3-tusked Stelgar. His voice drops to a growl. I've sired a dozen children, but none have been deemed fit to take my place. I care nothing for the legacies that obsess the Estermorn lords, but it is important that my successor continue this path. Is your role hereditary? Not entirely. We believe that the souls of our ancestors come back to us, that a strong soul may bear more, but all souls must be tested by our elders. The Riau looked up first among my children for successor, but their souls were weak. Ordinarily, they would turn to others in my tribe, to clan heads and their families. Ordinarily. But we share a tradition of fostering the children of other tribes, and the Anemfath of Fisher Crane has entrusted his youngest to my care. He grimaces, and none of my own blood are fit to take my place. Throughout will look next to his bog child, the kin of another Anemfath, and my foster daughter to take my place. Bog child? His shoulders stiffen. I have nothing but respect for Fisher Crane, but their ways are not ours. The Orlans of Fisher Crane have lived in the Thambog for 1,000 years. They are cunning and furtive by nature, which serves them well when they have swamplands to hide their movements. He crosses his arms, but this will not deter the Estermorn on open ground. I think you underestimate what few stealthy archers can do. He points at the warriors gathered near the fire. Our savagery has deterred the Estermorn from further encroachment. They tell of our deeds in the Broken Stone War, but if a child of Fisher Crane leads our tribe, we will lose that boldness, and the Estermorn will lose their fear of us. The child will be influenced by the souls of her ancestors. In time of crisis, she will look to their kin in the Thambog for guidance. No matter what I might try to teach her, it will not be enough. There's a way you could help. Few have the stomach for it, but I think you have the perspective to see why certain unpleasantness may be unnecessary. Go on. This Orlan girl is the soul of a leader. If I were passed to one of my own offspring, our tribe would remain strong. The Stelgar at Simok's side scratches his massive head on an Animfat's leg. He remains steady on his feet. The druids of the Blood Sands have a way to do this, and they understand the importance of a strong line of succession for the three-tusked Stelgar. This sounds problematic. He gives you a key. There's a house in the southeast Hearthsong next to the river. The child will be asleep. I've arranged for her to be unattended for a time. His voice becomes a quiet rumble. Take her and bring her to the keeper Wordha in the Blood Sands. She knows what must be done. When she presents you with the liquid essence, bring it back to me. And what will she do with the child? His scarf face twists again. Have you seen the rituals in the Blood Sands? She will sacrifice her. It's the only way to distill her essence. Fie, I'd rather distill this owl bone bag into a right fine paste. The Orlan child, go on. I don't see why you need me to do this. Because I cannot do it without attracting undue attention, he frowns. I don't relish passing my own burdens onto another, but I will incite war between our tribes if I'm caught. I won't do this. I do not relish the deed, but 2 centuries of leadership have taught me all the things bear to cost. He nods once. Consider it well, Estamor. I'm not above rewarding those who are of service. What do you actually do here? I'm Animfath of the Three Stelgar. I'm guide of our tribe. I guide our tribe in all matters. He looks at the main room of the hut where others have gathered. I am in Twin Elms to confer with some of the other Animfatha about this. The Onolfen, your Hollowborn. I'm sorry, I can't remember the pronunciations. We only have such births here on occasion, but it has made us more vigilant about our neighbors. Simok's eyes narrow. There are some of us who believe your Onolfen to be punishment for the defilement of the builder's sites. Others say it's a plague carried by the Estermorn. People make it like what they want it to be, and when it ends, if it ends, they'll make up reasons for that too. Tell me about your tribe, blah blah blah. The boldest and the fiercest of the 6 tribes of Glanfath. It was we who first defended against Estermorn, who came to shore 200 years ago. We have always been the border tribe. It has always fallen to us to hold the line against outsiders and invaders. Goodbye. It's a dude. A young man approaches you with a swift and purposeful stride. Well, you've never met him before. He has the same stern, wild look as Simok. He doesn't speak until he's right next to you. When he does, his voice is quiet. Wait, I saw you speaking with my father. What is this about? He glances back at the room with Simok. He asked you to sacrifice Vela, hasn't he? He grits his teeth. Maybe he's right about the 3 tusk Stelgar growing weak, but if this is the price of strength, it isn't worth it. The tribes have survived this long because we've stuck together. A voice of reason. It's a wonder Simok doesn't feed him to the Stelgars. Do you have another idea? There's an herbalist among the Ovates in the Golden Grove. Bledha, that's her name. They all gather southeast of here by the river. She could brew a poison. Simok wouldn't know the difference until it's too late. There's the family resemblance. Why not just return the child to her birth parents? It's complicated. A child sent to be fostered by another tribe isn't allowed to return. Unfortunately, explaining that we're shielding her from my father would make matters much worse for both tribes. He tugs a thin beard. Let me guess, if Simok dies, you're next in line. It's not like that. The Rio have already determined that my soul isn't strong enough. Whoever follows my father, it won't be me. So you want me to murder your father? No, but it's better than allowing Yim to murder this child. There is an easier way to kill Simok, you know. His warriors would surround you in no time. Besides, the simplest if this happens quietly. I gotta think about this. He scowls. I hope you don't have to think too hard about it. I'm warning you now, Estamor. Don't go anywhere near Bella. I'm my father's son in one regard, anyway. People these days with their poisons and their blood sacrifices and power struggles. Kids. It's broken again. Frosty key has been added to the stash. Clear waters are sweet and refreshing. Ah.
You have stayed true to our cause, Inquisitor, when so many others have not. For every heretic we confess, for every betrayer that burns on our pyres, new sheep continue to flock to Iavara ex Incios.
If you
But
say
not
so.
you. I underestimated you in the beginning, but no longer.
You honor me, Grand Inquisitor.
It is not for honor that I summoned you today, but for duty. Too many of our own have confessed upon the wheel and the rack and the flame. Too many of our faithful have had their minds poisoned by the Kratom witch. The tide is against us now. We have but one option. Iavara's following must see her exposed for what she is. She must confess her heresy before my court.
How would we reach her?
Not in Kratom, surely. Their lord has embraced her heathen faith and protects her with his army. But in Oceanus, things would be different. The king of Oceanus is a sinful man. We have helped him to see the error of his ways, and now he fears for his soul. He would pay any price for absolution.
But how would we get Iavara to move to Osonius? Osonus? Oh, whatever.
You have already done much for the Inquisition. I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
But did anybody expect it?
Yeah?
The answer is no. No one had expected it. Oh god. Surprise! Tree people! 1 second. Alright. Two identical women seem to fade into view as they move away from the great trees that camouflage them. Their skin is tree bark, ridged and scaly, wreathed in a curling tangle of roots, buds, and blooms. Their hair hangs beneath the shade of the serrated leaves like the drooping branches of the elms above, and the pupils of her eyes are encircled by hundreds or even thousands of concentric rings as if to mark the accumulated wisdom of millennia.
Turn around, flesh creature. Outsiders are not permitted to approach the elms.
Okay. The other stares at you unblinking as her frown deepens, her face creaks. Do you not feel it, sister? Something familiar, an ancient soul, like the other one. Another defiler, no doubt. Let us fell her, and be troubled no more. It would pay the debt of her predecessor.
So it would seem, Rhiannon. But we must not hasten to judgment. I see a different motive here. Different questions in these eyes.
Also, we're all on top of each other right now.
What of it, young trespasser? Is it as my sister says? Or are you here to stain this place with foul deeds?
Seek a man who came through here. It sounds as if you've already met him. There, by her own admission, Sidha.
Really, sister? And you wonder why your leaves begin to fall out before midsummer. Clearly that man did not want to be followed. Whatever the relationship here, I suspect it is anything but cordial. The answer is yes, old one. We crossed paths with Theos not long ago, and we can tell you where he went. But I find it curious that anyone would seek him out. Suspicious, even. If we are to help you find him, we would know why.
Stopping him might end Widewind's legacy.
So that is the reason he passed this way. This is low, even for the Leaden Key.
I told you we should have confronted him, Sheila. He has always been a poison.
It would have been the last thing we ever did, sister. Who can be said to have ever gotten the better of Theos?
Yes, but imagine how much fun it would have been. Can't you just picture him all strung up in vines like an angry little puppet?
But that's not what this is really about, is it? You are bound to that man. I see it now. You are awakened. Your soul is awake, and something once buried deep now wells to the surface. Past overwhelms present, closes in around you. Your time has nearly reached its end.
I just need to get to
I'm
Theos.
sorry to tell you this, but Theos cannot give you what you seek. Nor can any man. An awakening cannot be undone, any more than your past can be undone.
What's she mean? I thought Merwell said. This is permanent? I'm sorry. We did not come down this road together to be refused passage by a pair of talking saplings. To be chained to such a past. Her face pale, her eyes hollow. A bitter and grievous thing, watch her. So this has all been for nothing, and I'm going to lose my mind.
The soul is formless without a past to shape it. Did you truly expect to be able to wipe it away?
I'd rather have tried to put things right. A noble thought, but for lifetimes that separate you from your problems.
However, as much as my sister speaks truly that there is no way back from an awakening, there may yet be a way forward. Would you agree, Shiva?
I would. Were the way not so likely to end in death.
What is it?
The man Theos you must already know by now. You are linked by a common past. Something about it lingers within you, festering, unresolved. What it is I cannot see any more than you. And without that knowledge, your doom is certain. But were you to learn the source of this discord, perhaps it could be put to rest. Though it is equally possible it will trouble you as much now as it did then, and merely speed your condition to its end.
My past comes to be in pieces. How do I unlock the rest?
You might wait for it to come on its own, of course. But when it comes, it will replace your sanity's last breath. Such is the nature of your condition.
Or you could learn it from someone who already knows.
Theos, would he remember?
It is said the gods made his memory perfect, that he may never forget his charge. If he ever knew, he still does.
Not that he would tell you, of course.
You have followed the right person for the wrong reason, it seems. We see it often beneath the elms. The soul dragging mind and body to unknown places for unfathomable reasons. You may have wandered into Theos' path many times, in many lifetimes, without an awakening to show you why.
The only thing that's certain is you did not find what you sought.
You said you know where he went?
He has gone down beneath the tower to a place older than we, where the people of Engwith once walked. He makes his way to the buried city, sun and shadow.
May he stay down there and rot with the remains of his people.
He may yet. He won't be returning the way he came, that much is certain. He opened a secret path in the tower's base, and saw it destroyed behind him through some vile means.
Is there another way to get to him?
We know of one. On the burial isle, through the court of the penitents, Braeth Yaman. A shortcut, in fact.
Don't be cruel, sister. The way my sister speaks of is not for the faint of heart. A great pit at the center of a forgotten court, where faiths were judged in place of crimes. To most, it is simply a gateway to death. With the help of the gods, it can take you where you want to go.
What do you mean with the help of the gods?
The pit is said to have been a means of judgment by the gods. Those cast into it are meant to die. It is that way you must pass to reach Sun and Shadow. The court
Sounds
is
good.
owned. We do not know much for certain, but it would seem only the gods themselves can grant passage.
What is this court?
No more than a ruin now. It is older than we. A place for the trial of heretics. We were not here to witness it, but at one time there was a group that refused to acknowledge the gods. Neither the first nor the last, of course, but these were numerous and all put on trial for it.
Inquisition?
Those who did not repent were cast into the pit and imprisoned below. The fall killed them, of course. The prison was not for people, but for their souls, and their sentences were eternal. It is said that many of the condemned repented and were permitted by the gods to ascend from the pit, so long as they pledged their service to one of them. But these are old legends.
How would I ever get the gods to help me?
Behind us is Ter Evron, said to pierce the shroud itself and a place of communion with all gods. If ever there was a time for prayer, you have found it.
Who would I pray to? Any god you can, I should think.
I would pray first to those gods you like best. I hope for your sake the feeling is shared.
So the only way to get to this pit is to pray for help.
Not the only way. Just the only one that doesn't end with your body impaled on jagged rocks.
Can't I use a ladder or something? Is there no other
No.
way? How do I pray?
Ter Evron is also called the Hall of Stars, and the stars show us the allegiances of the gods. When stars are in conjunction, we know the gods they represent are aligned as well. You should choose a place to pray where you'll be closest to those you want to hear you. If a god stands alone, you should pray to that god. If they band together, you should address them all. Choose your words wisely, for all gods expect proper homage, and none has patience for fools.
I
What
have
do you wish to
questions.
know?
How did you know I was pursuing things?
The same way that you are no doubt able to peer into the ether and experience the souls of others. It is something we are born with, some more, some less. A gift common to many creatures of the wilds.
I'm just glad I don't have to read most of this since I'm getting tired.
You share certain similarities with the man you pursue. For your sake, I pray they are few and of no consequence.
Oh, I thought it said many similarities. You mentioned that people come to these elms without knowing why. A soul has a will of its own, and its needs and whims are seldom understood, but they follow them all the same.
There is something about this place that reaches beyond our understanding, something like a beacon. The elms have a way of uniting souls that have been seeking one another, with or without their owner's awareness. Sometimes it is for love, sometimes for vengeance, sometimes for peace. Often it is for no reason we will ever know. In your case, let us hope it is for peace.
Or vengeance.
There is little to be said about us, for we are bound here, caretakers and defenders of this place. Our journey has been over time, but not distance, measured in observations, but not experiences. We have seen the elms grow tall. We have seen cities built, burned, and built again. The only constant has been the tower, a silent companion through the ages. You can imagine why this recent destruction has stirred my sister so.
If you do nothing else, make that man pay for what he did here.
Okay. I need to know about praying for the support of the gods.
We will tell you what we can.
And yet...
Before you go, tell me this, old one. I'm curious. If you were to subdue your enemy, what would you do with him? What would give you peace?
I won't know until I get there. I shouldn't do the harm he's caused.
You would need to have twice as many lifetimes as he to repair his savage work.
Perhaps there are strides you can make.
All the same, think on this matter. Be assured in your course. In the end, it may mean all the difference, not just to his soul, but to yours. And be warned. Some questions have answers that can never be learned. And it is those that trouble the soul above all others.
Like, why only half of these games' lines are voiced, even by one...
May you find an answer to yours.
That is my question. Oh, and off they go.
No problem.
Got some new happy fun times. So I think before I do any of that fun stuff, I'll finish some of my side quests. Puppies. Blood sands. Okay, well, I'm gonna save here and go to bed because I'm tired. So I might play more tomorrow, or it might be 2 weeks again before I touch this again, so we'll see. What just... Okay, so I made a save, but there's like nothing to save it over